say that if you really want to see something new, you've got to stop looking. I don't know if you ever heard that expression. You probably haven't, because I made it up. But no, they do say that. You know, if you want to see something new, stop looking, and you might see something new. If you're trying to invent something, or you're trying to come up with a new idea, stop looking, you might suddenly see it. And I'm going to try and demonstrate that little principle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have myself blindfolded in a moment. Then I'm going to ask people to draw pictures. I'm going to attempt to tell them what pictures they've drawn. Okay? I'm going to wander into the audience to give a few people a piece of paper and a pen. If I give you a piece of paper and a pen, please don't draw anything on the piece of paper straight away. That's not very impressive. Wait until after I've been blindfolded, it's slightly more impressive. Alright? But you can check that there's nothing already written on the piece of paper, you can check that there's nothing drawn on the piece of paper, and I promise everybody who helps is not in on it at all. Let me see, Dan, you can have a piece of paper and a pen, just hang on to that, and we'll have somebody, this young man here, what's your name?
Graham.
Graham, wonderful. Graham, you can have a piece of paper and a pen, and somebody, this gentleman at the back, so you can have a piece of paper and a pen as well. Okay, just hang on to them. And I need 2 people from the audience who have experience in blindfolding. Not something you would admit to at a public event, but let me see who we got. You like sort of with the blue shirt on there, second row from the back. What's your name? Me, Chinese name. That's lovely. They're becoming a lot more popular now, aren't they? The old Chinese names. That's right. Have you got another name, me, or is it just me? It's not me, or me, also me. What? Is that it, me?
Oliver.
Me, Oliver. Wonderful. Is that hyphenated? All right. I'll just call you Oliver if that's all right. Would you come out here, Oliver? Give Oliver a big round of applause. Come on, jump up on stage, Oliver. It's good to see you. Where are you from?
Maidstone.
All right. That's not too far away from here. Wonderful. And what do you do for a living?
I'm a vicar.
Are you really? Wow, dear me, they make them in all sorts of different looks now, don't they? Are you one of these trendy ones that takes drugs and stuff? Are you make love to animals, all that sort of thing? Are you one of those vicars? You're not? Alright, I just wondered if there was one, that's all. Right, so are you, what sort of church are you in? Is it a big one with a pointy roof, or is it a tiny little thing? No, is it, what I mean is, just answer whenever you feel ready. What church?
It's ecumenical, which is Anglican and Baptist and Methodist and URC all together.
Oh, right.
It's different sorts of Christians.
You're covering your bets, aren't you, in case you didn't think that? If he doesn't want to let you in, you'll say, hang on a minute, we also had a little bit of the ecumenical, like that. Right, so a bit of everything, right? You baptise people, you burn them at the stake, you do the whole lot. Yeah. Wow, that's good. And how long have you been a vicar then?
8 years.
8 years, right, all right. And that was a vicary gesture you did there, wasn't it? You did.
It was.
8 years. Verily, 8 years. Great. So, have you ever blindfolded anybody, Oliver? Not choir boys. I'm on about. Please. Come on. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have told them about that. I promised I wouldn't. No, but I mean, have you ever?
No, I don't think so.
You've never ever blindfolded anybody? What sort of a vicar are you? Come on, live a little. Next party you go to, just stand up, just wearing a pair of trunks and say, let's blindfold everybody.
Maybe with like a pin and tail on the donkey.
Pin? Yes. You might have done that. Yeah. Not really what I was looking for, Oliver, but okay, are you married?
Yes.
Are you? Right, how long have you been married?
10 years.
10 years, right. So after 2 years you said, I'm becoming a vicar! Oh, she said, well, you might as well. I'm guessing a lot of this, Oliver. I'm just guessing it. I need somebody else to help you. I need a lady, somebody I'm picked on at the moment. Girl in the middle, desperately looking away as though if I look over there, I become invisible. You can't see me anymore. What's your name? Joe. Joe, wonderful. Joe, have you ever blindfolded anybody before? No. She has. Okay. Joe, would you come out here? Give Joe a big round of applause. Wonderful. Joe, you come and stand over this side. That's wonderful. Wow. I might not be chatting to you much more. Male vicar or Joe? What would you choose? Careful, careful. Hi Joe, how are you? You alright? Great. And so what do you do then?
I'm a diving instructor.
You're a diving instructor? Wow. It's probably something funny I could have said then, but I can't think of it. So what, the whole kit and the rubber, do you wear? Hey, please, there's a vicar up here with me! You wear the rubber, right? And are you married, Joe? You're not. Neither am I. That's great. Just having a chat with Joe now. I'm just talking to Joe. So, have you got a boyfriend? You're married. Stop it. So Joe, is it how long? I mean, it's a rude question, but I mean, have you not had a boyfriend for a while? I mean, that's a bit rude. I shouldn't have asked that. I'm sorry. But have you?
No.
What? It's been a while since you had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Is it really? Have you ever thought? This is just a rhetorical question. Just a rhetorical question, Joe. Right? Yeah. You're an attractive young girl, right? It's a while since you've had a boyfriend. Have you ever thought to yourself, be perfectly honest, what I fancy is a bit of a fling with a slightly older, ugly girl? Haven't you? Sorry about that, fella. I tried my best. It's not interesting. Right, so what we're going to do is you're both going to just step forward a bit for me. That's great. You're both going to blind. Not you. You stay where the heck you like. You're both going to blindfold me, all right? And there's various things that you're going to do to make sure that I'm blindfolded. The first thing that you're going to do is I'm going to have my eyes closed. Now, believe it or not, that's very effective. Close your eyes. Can you see anything? It's amazing, that, isn't it? You know, that's a little system invented by God so you don't see things when you're dreaming. Well, you just imagine, right? You imagine if you're having a dream late at night, right? You're fast asleep and you're dreaming about a herd of wild buffalo galloping across a mountain plain, but all you can see is your bedside lamp. That would be annoying, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's why you've got eyelids. He's a clever fella.
It's brilliant.
I know. Well, you should know. Anyway. So I'm going to have my eyes closed, Oliver, right? To make sure that I can't open my eyes, or even if I do open my eyes, to make sure that I can't see, I'm going to have 2 coins taped over my closed eyelids. These things are picking up. These are the coins we're going to use. These are American dollar coins. The reason I use them is they're nice and big, all right? They fully cover my eyes. But make sure there's no holes drilled in it, no television screens, no secret trapdoors. Throw it on the floor and stand on it if you want to, Oliver.
Oh, it looks good enough.
I'm glad you didn't do that. You'd have looked a fool. And are you happy with your coin?
Yeah.
Right. So, I'm going to have my eyes closed, Oliver. 2 coins taped over my eyes. They're going to be held in place with some of this stuff. This is called gaffer tape. It's used by professional sound engineers. In America, they call this Dutch tape. In Germany, they have a German word for it. We're going to use 4 pieces of tape. You get 2 pieces each. If you can just hang on to that one, Oliver. You do need another piece of tape, and you're going to need your hands free. So we're just going to put that up there. It might take a few of the lumps off your jumper. That's great. Now, you get 2 pieces as well. Joe, you can just hang on to that one. That's great. And put that one there for you. Okay, so no chance. My eyes are closed. I've got 2 coins taped over my eyes, held in place with 4 pieces of gaffer tape. Some people think I might still be able to see, so finally I use this. This is a regulation police issue blindfold. You made one wrong. It's made of 2 layers of material. It's got foam in the middle. It's got velvet on the inside, PVC on the outside, foam in the middle. I promise it's a genuine blindfold, the type you can buy from a service station if you're going on an aeroplane you want to have a sleep. Not if you're the pilot, apparently that's not allowed. Everybody else. But I want you to check and make sure it is a genuine blindfold. Joe, would you do me a favour? Be perfectly honest. Be perfectly honest. Joe, can you see through the blindfold?
No.
She can't see a thing. I sell these at the end if anybody's interested. Dear me. I must admit I've been doing this trick for 9 years. It's the first time anyone's ever done that with a tongue. I wasn't ready for that, I really wasn't. Especially the chewing gum, that took me by surprise. Oliver, do you think it's possible to see through the blindfold? Correct, well done. Okay, we're going to start with you, Oliver. What I'd like you to do is to take your coin, stick it in the centre of the first piece of tape. The taste will eventually go away, don't worry, alright? Just in the centre of the... And if you could do the same, Joe, for me, just take your coin, stick it in the middle of the first piece of tape, halfway from each end, somewhere near the middle. Brilliant. Alright, we're going to start with you, Oliver. Here's what's going to happen. In a moment, I'm going to close my eyes. When I do, you put the coin fully over my left eye. Not over here, not up here, not down here. Put the tape at a 45-degree angle. Not 46, not 44. Angles are important. You're a vicar. Stick the tape firmly to my forehead and my cheek and get your finger and stick it all the way around. Make sure there's nowhere I can see. Do you understand? Away you go. That's great. Get your fingers, stick it down nice and firm. Don't worry about hurting me. Ow. Oh, yeah. You'll be getting forgiveness in the morning, won't you, eh? Joe, you're going to do a similar thing in a symmetrical fashion across this side, alright? Away you go. Oliver, please, tell me that wasn't you. Because if it was, you've got incredible lips, I'll tell you. Joe, just help yourself to as much tape as you need, alright? Oliver, you've got another piece of tape left, yes?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I want you to put that horizontally across where my eyes used to be. Away you go. That's great. And get your fingers and stick it down all the way around. Make sure there's no gaps where I could possibly peek out. Are you happy with that?
That's good. Looks good.
Okay, Oliver, you've done everything you need to do. You've been absolutely superb. As you go back to your seat, everyone's going to give you a huge round of applause. Oliver, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Joe, you still there?
Yeah.
Listen, you've got one piece of tape left. I'm going to let you put that last piece of tape any way you like. However... The nose and the mouth is funny, but I do need to be able to speak for the rest of the trick. So don't cover my nose on my mouth, otherwise I clap's dead on the floor. It's not the trick I wanted to do, alright? But just go across my eyes one last time, any way you like. Sit down, everybody. Okay, it was worth a try. Can you do me a favour? Can you just fasten the Velcro at the back there for me, Joe? Wonderful. Okay, now Joe, I've got my eyes closed, 2 coins taped over my eyes, held in place with 4 pieces of gaffer tape, a blindfold. People think I might still be able to see. I call those people Terry. But would you do me a favour? Just pass me the roller tape off the table and put the end of the tape into my fingertips. Wonderful, okay. Just hang on there, don't go yet. Don't think that joint will leak, will it? Okay. Put that back on the table for me, Joe. Before you go back, some people think, well, alright, there's obviously no way you can possibly see. So perhaps somebody gives him secret messages and he's got a special little listening device in his ears. Would you check there's nothing in there apart from hair wax and spots? Okay, come round the other side for me as well, please, Joe. Check this ear as well. Are you happy? Okay, Joe, people think, alright, he obviously hasn't got a special electronic Morse code device in his ear, you know, but maybe he's got some sort of electronic thing strapped somewhere to his body. Could be anywhere, Joe, it could be anywhere. It was worth a try, never mind. Joe, you've been superb, you can go back to your seat as well. Give Joe a big round of applause. Okay. We should now have 3 people in the audience who got with them pieces of paper and pens. What I'd like those 3 people to do, please, for me, very, very quickly, is to draw a picture on your piece of paper. But listen, make it the full size of the piece of paper so that everybody in the audience can see it when you bring it up. Don't make a tiny little drawing. And draw something unique and special to you. Don't draw what I'd be able to guess. Don't draw the obvious. You know, draw something, it can be from outer space or from on the land or from under the sea. It can be a man-made object or a living thing, just an abstract shape, whatever you want to draw. And then as soon as you've drawn your picture, if you come and stand on my left-hand side in a line across the front of the stage here. I want to ask you to do this as quickly as possible. The last time I did this trick, I took the blindfold off, the audience had left. You don't have to colour them in, it's not a competition. As soon as you've drawn your picture, just come and stand out here. And as soon as they do that, if you give them a big round of applause to encourage them as well, please. Yes! How many's that we got? We got one?
All three.
Are you all here? Okay, can you sort of stand in a line here, in line with my arm, so I know where you are? Okay. We'll start with whoever's nearest to me. What I'd like you to do for me, please, is just hold up your picture so the audience can see it. All right, here we go. I want to ask that you don't react. Some people think I work out what the picture is by the audience reaction. In other words, you know, I say this is a living thing. Everybody goes, oh, and then I know I'm wrong. So wait until the end, at which point I will say, is that correct? And you'll go wild, even if I was wrong. Here we go. This is a picture. Don't help me. Man-made object, quite large, lots of straight lines. Straight lines, quite angular. A few curves. What's the bottom? There's something in the corner. Circle. It's a form of transport, a large form of transport. Not a car or a bus or a bicycle, something that would travel on water, not on land. It's actually, it's not a big steamship, it's a boat, it's a sailing boat. It's a type of sailing boat with a mast and two triangular sails. The thing in the corner is the sun. Is that correct?
Yeah!
Thank you. You can sit down now. Thank you very much. Okay, have the next one, please. Okay. Just concentrate on your picture. Ooh. This, please. It's another picture. Straight lines, curves again. Almost like an arrow. Neither see, it's not an arrow, it's actually, it's an old-fashioned sort of curved anchor. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. You can sit down as well, thank you. Okay, if you can, the last person can hold up their picture for me, please. Okay, here we go, last one. Ooh. Quite big. Straight lines. Straight lines, straight lines. Man-made object. Squares within squares. I love dragging it out like this. I could just see a house, but I never do. No, please. I'll tell you something. It is a house indeed. It's a house. It's sort of quite tall. It's got a little chimney with a little, almost like a little aerial sticking out the top, and 4 windows and a door. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. You can sit down as well. Thank you. And now for the most entertaining part of the trick. Not for me, but I have a feeling that all of us are going to love it. The removing of the tape. Here we go. You know at Christmas when you're wrapping your presents and you can't find the end of the Scotch tape? It's annoying that, isn't it? There it is. I don't know why I do this for a living. I wanted to be a vicar. If I look really shocked at the end of this trick, it's because I've got no eyebrows left. Thank you. I've got some esteemed colleagues here. I've got Mark Elsden here, and like I say, some esteemed colleagues, Kellogg's, that's cornflakes. Esteemed Kellogg's, he eats a lot of cornflakes. He's on the, actually, you're on the Kellogg's diet, aren't you, at the moment? Yeah, he replaces all of his Kellogg's cornflakes with chocolate. It's not working. It's not working, as you can see. So, yeah, I've got Mark Elsden, Peter Nardi, and Nigel Mead here, and my good self, John Archer. So what we're going to do is talk about everything that I can possibly think of that you might come across when you're doing a blindfold routine. One of the questions I think you've got to ask yourself when you're doing a blindfold, you're going to interrupt, fellas, if you feel like it. Don't worry about that. What I think no, what I mean is you're going to interrupt with questions.
Sorry.
All right. This was not a good idea. One of the questions you've got to ask yourself is, have I got the right people on the panel? The other question you've got to ask yourself is, do I need to have a thorough blindfold for the effect I'm doing? Now, obviously, if you're doing a routine like the one you've just seen of me performing, where people are drawing pictures and I'm telling them what they're drawn, then I think it's important that the blindfold system is very thorough and I've got my eyes taped up and the audience are convinced that there's no way I can see, otherwise the effect is lost. But if you're doing an effect where the blindfold is just an element of it, then you can probably get away with just a fake blindfold, you know, or you don't need to go to the whole process of taping your eyes up. An example would be if you decide to do what's that one with the pictures?
Sneak Thief.
Sneak Thief, yeah. If you decide to do Sneak Thief and all my illusions, I like to draw the people in with comments. If you're going to do Sneak Thief, I mean, you can do Sneak Thief as it is, but I've seen some people do it where they just wear a blindfold and sort of hold them up and feel them and get an aura and say, oh yeah, I think you've drawn it. This is so-and-so, it's a drawing of this and it belongs to them. Then in that case, the blindfold is just a small element of the whole trick. It's all still about finding out what belongs to who, or whom, if you're English. So think about whether or not you need, first of all, to go through this whole process. It might be that you just buy a gimmicked blindfold and that's enough for the routine that you're doing. I do think, though, if you're doing a routine where you're claiming that you can't be able to see, you must sort of overstress it that you can't see and really pull all the stops out. I started doing a blindfold routine. I saw an old tape of Cudder Bucks once do it, and I had no idea how he managed to see with all that gunk on his face, and thought I'd quite like to do a blindfold routine. And I read a little bit in Corinda's 13 Steps, and then I just there's no way to do it other than getting somebody to tape your eyes shut and working it out, or at least that was for me. So I used to sit in the house and get my wife to tape my eyes shut, which she loved doing. She'd go out shopping, come back later. I'd be banging my head into a cupboard door. So you've really got to try it, and that's how I tried it. And
have you got any footage of you taping the wife up?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Do you want that? Yeah, I'll bring that. And the rope. So, have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I experimented. I read the book, Corinda's thing, and what he said about it, and then I got on and did it. And as problems came up, different elements, I've been doing it, my blindfold routine, for about, I would think, 12 years now, and as problems have come up, I've found, tried and got ways around them. So that's basically what I'm going to share with you. My immense.
It's very scary at first because there's that loss of control.
Yeah, it is. It is very. The first time you do it in an audience, it's not quite scary when you do it at home and your wife blindfolds you, unless you've had an argument. You know she's got a knife in her hands. Well, yeah. But yeah, the first time you perform it in front of an audience, the first few times you do it. It's a bit scary. I mean, I've done it so much now that, and also I've got, which we'll talk about later, I've got lots of outs, things that I can get myself out of trouble if I need to. So I'm pretty confident now that I'm always...
Even though you can see what you need to look at, in your case, a design duplication, you can't see the reaction of the rest of the audience, or...
Well, sometimes you can to a little bit, but yeah, it is a bit scary when you first start doing it, but it's also exciting. It's quite exciting to give it a go and see what happens. The other good thing about this particular routine, which I like about it, is, I think the performance I did there was about 20 minutes, and you'll notice from my performance that it's very much, the vast majority of it is ad-libbed. So, I mean, I genuinely didn't know that guy I got up was going to be a vicar, and I didn't know the other girl was going to be a diving instructor. But it worked out. It worked out great, and there was lots of lines that I could come up with. And I love doing it for that reason, that every performance is a little bit different, because I don't know who I'm going to get, and I don't know what gags I'm going to make. But I love it because it doesn't matter where I am in the world. I know that if I can find a blindfold or a scarf, a couple of coins and some tape, I've got a 20-minute routine I can do. So, it's a great little trick to have in your arsenal, is a little blindfold routine. Some pens and paper and bits you can buy in a sort of stationery shop, and you're ready to go. That's it. The things that I use. We'll talk about props. Do any of you ever done blindfold stuff?
No. Never tried it.
Never tried it.
The only one I've ever used is the double layer bag, where you you can see through
Yeah.
and it's a single, and then you switch it. Which
Yeah.
But no, not. I mean, this is sort of.
Yeah. Can I have another 4 people, please? Well, another 2. Another, there's not 4 here anyway. I'm one of them. I couldn't swap myself. Can I have another 4 people? I'd like to watch the DVD. Yeah. Can Gary Kurtz please come and explain this for me? Yeah, so that's my thinking about why you do it and why it's useful to have, etc., and how I came about developing it. The props that I use, basically, for the blindfolding, as opposed to the actual, the drawing. I mean, they're just going to use pens and paper, and they're just marker pens and paper, so that's not an issue. But the props I use for the blindfold are coins, first of all, gaffer tape, or duct tape for the American viewers, and a blindfold. Now, the coins that you use, it's good to use big coins. And it's a weird thing, because you explain that you're going to use large coins because they fully cover your eye, which is true, and that sounds like a really good thing. But actually what the coins do is they stop the tape sticking to your eyelid. So using big coins is actually better for you than using small coins. But it's one of those things that the audience actually think it's making sense when you're saying big coins,
Yeah,
but actually the truth is the exact opposite. So so I always say to them, I'm going to use American dollar coins, one of the largest coins in production today. Although I think they've stopped making the large dollar coins now. I don't know. But I say we could use any coins that you've got in your pocket, and I sometimes make a joke about, it doesn't look like you got much, or you would have spent it on clothes or whatever. So the old gags, they're the good ones. Yeah, my audience, they're important people to me. I asked the vicar if he'd ever kissed a choir boy or something, didn't I? I don't know what went on there. Hopefully that'll all get cut out of the performance. So I tell them they can use their own coins, and they might go for their own coin, but to be honest, I think I've had it happen once that I can remember where somebody has used their own coins, because they examine them, and I make gags about make sure there's no holes drilled in them, television screens, blah blah blah. But the truth is, they can see that they're solid coins, and it's fair, and they'll never really swap them. Now, when I saw Kuda Books do it, he uses dough as well, and you can have the coin and then dough. To be honest, you can put all sorts on your eye, because what's going to happen is the whole of this lot is going to lift slightly when you come to the moment where you need to see. I'll explain how that happens when we talk about how you put it on. The only reason I don't use dough is it's just too much faff on getting to a gig and either having to make up dough or carry dough in a little Tupperware box. I just can't be bothered with the dough aspect of it. But you can use it. The coin's going to be the first thing that goes on, and then the dough over the top. But basically, it's going to lift as you raise your eyebrows. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Have you ever had the coins fall out? I've seen a few performers, well-known performers, put them on, and the coins just end up falling out and they're tight.
I've had that happen once, but that brings me on to the next thing, which is the tape you use. It's really important that you get very, very sticky tape.
Yeah. Like a heavy-duty electrical tape.
Yeah. Well, like I say, this sort of gaffer tape, which is, sound engineers use it to put cables to the floor, and they use it to stick carpet down. And there's lots and lots of different type of gaffer tape you can get, and you really need to find one that's very sticky. I did some corporates with a sound guy, and my tape ran out, and he lent me some of this stuff. And it's called Tiki tape, T-I-C-K-I tape. Tiki tape. I think it's made in the UK.
It's actually made in Catford, where there's a Tiki tape building.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, right, well, that's great.
It's actually Ladywell.
Right, I need some more.
Yeah.
Well, there you are. Tiki tape from Catford.
People know that Alakazam will be stocking it by the end.
Yeah. You can probably buy Tiki tape from Alakazam. And the $half he's selling them, the dollars he's selling them for $2 if you want them. That's 100% markup, which is sort of average for a dealer. Get very sticky tape. Now, some people, will balk at the idea because you've got to peel it off your face, and it does hurt. But when you're performing this, certainly if you're doing it in a theatre, or even if you're doing it in cabaret where there's lights on and it's a warm room, if you use tape that's not very sticky, it will start to come off. And that's when you get the problems of the coins will peel off if you're sweating a bit. I normally have a little towel, so that just before the tape's put on, if I am sweating, I'll put it on. If you're wearing makeup as well, the makeup can make it less likely to stick. So this stuff really is, you know, I don't mean makeup in your everyday life, Peter.
No.
All right.
It all started when he began
It's a
practicing.
childish smirk from Mr. Peter Nardi.
Somewhere else completely now.
He is. What I mean is, no, if you're wearing stage makeup and you're in front of hot lights, if you're using tape that's not very sticky,
Yeah.
it's going to come off. So get really good. And this ticky tape that I've found that's made in Catford and Alakazam will
Well,
probably
maybe
stock
more. Yes.
ish somewhere in the UK. But find your own tape anyway that's sticky. And also colour is very important. Black tape. I've used. You can get gaffer tape in white and you can get it in silver. You can get it in different colours. It's stupid, but people do sometimes come up to you and say, can you see through that tape? Now, it's ridiculous because I'm going to have coins, I'm going to have layers of tape, I'm going to have a blindfold. But obviously, they're trying to work it out. They realise, or they think they realise, there's no way you can see round it. So they assume, well, maybe you can see through everything. So black tape is best for getting over that, because psychologically, black is the least likely colour you're going to be able to see through. If I've used white tape in the past, and I get it more if I use white tape or silver tape. They say, I bet you can see through that tape. Use black tape, it doesn't happen so often. It's just psychological black. You know, it looks dark and impossible to see through. And you want it, you know, the broad. I mean, this is about, I would think, 1 3/4 inches, 2 inches thick. And then the other thing that I use is I use a blindfold. Now this is just a regular blindfold that you can buy. I mean,
Sleep mask or something.
yeah, it's a sleeping mask for on aircraft, so if you're travelling, like a travelling mask. I bought this from a motorway service station. And
Not good to wear while you're driving, actually.
no, you don't wear it while you're driving.
Okay.
No, no.
You can do that,
I did that gag.
You
I
can with
did,
this method.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can drive anywhere you
Honestly,
want.
officer.
yeah.
And tell them what they drew.
Can I ask whose DVD this is?
Sorry.
Okay. I don't mind you coming in, but when you take over, I did that gag in the performance about don't wear it if you're the pilot. Anyway.
I hate it when people carry on when I'm interrupting.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, you don't mind if I do that, do you?
So you haven't adapted that in any way?
I have, yeah. I'm going to tell you how I've adapted it in a minute. It's a regular blindfold, the type that you can use, like I say, for travelling. But when you buy these, sometimes it doesn't have this, but most of them now have a little piece of material that's sort of filled with foam that's raised up here, like a little nose thing, and it actually blocks the light out of here. Because clever blindfold designers have realised that you can see a little bit down here and get light in. So they put that. Now, so what I do is I just get a pair of scissors and I cut that off, and you're left with a little bit of white foam, and then I get a marker pen and I just blacken it in. But nobody really gets a chance to, you know, look at this in any great detail. But it is a genuine blindfold. You can't see through it. So I can do the thing with a girl of, can you see through that? Steal the kiss. I mean, when I do the kiss, which you've seen on the performance, I say, can you see through that? She says no, and I kiss her. You've got to think carefully about whether you do that or not. I wouldn't do it with an older woman. I wouldn't do it with a woman who looked nervous. I wouldn't do it with an ugly woman. Why bother? But I normally get an attractive woman up, and I normally get a partner. I'll cover that in the performance about the way that I actually handle the two people. But that's the blindfold I use anyway. Just a normally sleeping blindfold, and cut off the nose thing. You know, blacken it if it's showing, and there you go. Choice. Other thing I'll cover with props is choosing the spectators as well. You just want to think carefully about who you're going to get up. I wouldn't get up a big, you know, burly, thug-looking guy who looks like it's a challenging thing. I'll normally go for somebody who looks, I don't know how to describe it, but
Non-threatening.
Non-threatening guy. And I'll always normally I didn't do it on the performance because we didn't have anybody in that were like couples as such. But normally I will try and get a couple for my the particular performance that's on the earlier, the DVD performance. You know what I mean. For that particular performance, there weren't a partner, but normally I will get either a boyfriend and girlfriend or a husband and wife, because the interplay between them both, me flirting with the girl and playing that off against the guy, is much funnier. So I normally go for a non-threatening guy who I can see has got an attractive partner with him. And the reason it's attractive, it's not because I like kissing it. Well, it is because I like kissing attractive women, but the flirting thing makes much more sense if it's an attractive
Yeah.
girl, you know, and when I kiss her, it makes sense, you know, it's like the audience are laughing that I've been that brave as to steal a kiss off this pretty girl on stage with me, and the fact that she's his boyfriend, it's all, you know, it's all, it all gels together. So I'll normally go for a non-threatening guy who's got an attractive partner with him. And when I bring them up on stage, I will separate them. I'll have one on either side. And the reason for having one on either side is it's actually funnier to have a person on either side when you're talking to them. You get a lot more movement. So, and for me, I find that movement's quite comedic when you're sort of going, when you're looking back at somebody and going, hey, hey. Whereas if you have them both there, there's very little going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also, because I've come between them, there's also that psychological thing of I have actually come between him and his wife, or him and his girlfriend. But it also means that I get that natural sort of movement thing. And I remember seeing, I don't know, it was Spike Milligan or no, it wasn't. It was Eric Sykes. Eric Sykes said that if you're talking to two people and you're the comedic person, it's always best if you're in the middle. And it is true by and large. I mean, there are times when you don't want that, but it is good to have one on either side. So that's the props, and that's how I would choose the people. Any
Do
thoughts on that?
they don't know what they're coming up on stage for? You haven't introduced the blindfold, and then you're asking for assistance with it.
Yeah, I do, because I do, I do sort of say, I'm going to attempt to do it, get people. I'm going to be blindfolded, and people are going to draw pictures. I'm going to.
Is there a reason for that? Or?
Normally, I mean, on the DVD I didn't do it, but normally I do this fake Uri Geller thing. Talk about, Uri Geller when he first came to this country, and one of the things he used to do, and I'm going to try and recreate it. On the DVD here, I don't think I did that because I didn't want to get sued by Uri Geller. So I think.
Because we didn't mention it now.
No, well, that's it. I'm not going to bring that up. The fact that I mentioned he's a fake and everything.
Uri Geller's a fake.
Let's not get into that.
It's not. I've seen him. He does it.
No, he's got acid on his fingers. So, it's true. So I'm lost now. What were we talking about?
They come up under the premise. Is there a reason why you tell them what we're coming up on stage for?
Yeah, and I do tell. I say, is there anybody in the audience who's got experience in blindfolding? It's on the performance if you watch it.
Yeah.
So, no, but yeah, I do say, is there anybody got experience of blindfolding? And I point directly to the guy who I've decided. Normally, at the beginning of the show, I'll try and scan the audience and find this person. Most of the people I can pick there and then, but for the blindfold trick, it's very important that I have a non-threatening guy with an attractive girl. So I'll try and, right at the beginning of the show, pick them out, because once the show's on and it's dark, you can't always see them. If I haven't seen them, when I go and give the pieces of paper out first with the pens, I say don't draw anything just yet. At that point, I might spot somebody. But that'll be the door. Can somebody get that? But I like to give myself a bit more time because it is quite important, the choice of the people for this routine. So I want to see the right person.
I mean, the guy you got up for the performance was very funny.
Yeah, well, he was a vicar, so obviously he was non-threatening.
Yeah.
And
are they usually that funny? I know not.
they're nearly, to be honest, they're nearly always. Yeah.
So the thing about the funny person being in the middle obviously doesn't work all the time.
Tape is money, fellas. Tape is money. You know what I mean? Do you know how much it costs for a tape? And then we've got Russ editing it. Do you know how much it costs for all of this?
Pounds and pounds.
Okay. So, more than thousands. No, thousands is right. So I do say to the guy,
Right.
Russ is going to have a great job cutting out all this bits of crap, isn't he? So I do say to the guy, have you ever blindfolded anybody before? Whatever he says, I normally say, you be honest, you must have to blindfold them all looking like that. So, so I've got gags that go with it. But as regards to your question about are they always funny,
They tend to play along.
they nearly always play along, and I think that's just because I think I mentioned it on my other DVD on the Educating Archer one. I think I mentioned it in the interview with you when we were chatting. They play along because I think I do it in a non-threatening, fun sort of a way.
Yeah.
I smile at them, have a laugh, and I do fake apologies. And I'm just kidding, and so I think you've got to be careful if you're rude to people that you're
You wouldn't open with this either, would you?
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't open with it. No, it's too full on too soon
So you've
to open
established
with.
yourself before you get to this.
Yeah, and people have realised that. I mean, they know that I'm going to pick on them, but to be honest, I never have people refusing me, and I'm very direct. And and there's all these different techniques of how you get people up. Andy Nan, got his great technique for the way he sort of moves forward and shakes and gets the audience to applaud them at the right point and everything. But I pretty much ask people to come out and get the audience to applaud them, and I suppose there's a bit of psychology that I'm doing subconsciously, but I think people just, I try and make people realise that it's just a fun environment. And
is there a danger with this, because there's so much comedy value within the build, that overshadows the effect? Do you know what I mean? Do you have to control that?
No, I don't think so, because it's almost like it's what it's all building to.
Right.
The fact I'm going to tell them the pictures. So
While you mentioned the pictures, what made you decide on drawing duplication? There's so much you can do blindfolded. Have you experimented with serial numbers and what you're holding up and all this?
the reason I do pictures is because I like to ad-lib and stuff.
Right.
There's a lot of scope for making a joke out of what they've drawn, whereas a serial number is just a number. I've got nothing against that, but for me, I just like the concept of pictures.
And you're playing it pure, not,
And I get people come up and they draw silly pictures. Sometimes they'll draw pictures of me with a blindfold on. Sometimes, and I'll say, "Oh, this is a very attractive gentleman." So whatever they've drawn, I'll make fun of it. Sure. So and you can't do that with a lot of things. But of course you can use this blindfold system for any effect you want to do, where you want to be able to see something, a sightless vision type thing.
I think the fact that obviously you've got the pictures quite big and everything, a lot of people do the question and answers. To me, it's quite obvious that they're reading.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're holding a bill and they are looking over it. I mean,
Yeah.
With the pictures, obviously you can see them at quite a distance.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. You can see them from a distance, and also the audience can see exactly what's going on. I think it's quite nice when the audience can confirm what you're telling them, rather than a spectator on the stage saying, "Yeah, that's right." Yeah. It's lovely, if you say the serial number is blah blah blah, and they go, "Yeah, that's right," the audience go, "Oh, that's right." Whereas if they say, they can see something, and you say it's a picture of. It's a tree, and the audience go, "Wow, it is a tree, and it's got this, and there's this bird in the left-hand corner." Wow, because they can see it; it's instant. Yeah. Whereas, other things are less so. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with all those other routines, but that's why I've gone for it. Sure. And also because it's comedy magic that I'm doing, or comedy mentalism. I want things that give me scope for comedy, and dealing with people gives me scope with comedy, because I can ad-lib about them, and dealing with something graphic that the audience can see, and it's different every night. I can make fun of it, I can make jokes.
And it keeps it fresh for you as well.
Yeah, it keeps me fresh for me. So anyway, that's what have we done? We've talked about the whys and the wherefores. We've talked about the props that you use and the people that you get up for use it. Next, we'll talk about how we put the tape on, and how the thing works. Basically, the way the blindfold trick works is obviously you've got some vision, you can see what's going on, and it will vary from person to person where that vision is. I know Pete McCann, God bless him, who died a year or so ago. Pete used to do a blindfold. He asked me to show him how I did my blindfold. And he used to have vision almost straight down, and I think it depends on the construction of your face and your features as to where you're going to actually get sight. But usually it's it's across this way, either that way or this way. And the reason for that is you're gonna have the coins are going to be taped to your eyes, but you need to have your forehead scrunched down. So what's going to happen is when they're taped on there, you're going to actually open and lift, and what happens is the whole tape lifts slightly. So as you've scrunched up as the tape's been put down, then as you lift, I'll sort of exaggerate it. As you lift, that's going to happen. You see what I mean? Yeah. And that's where you get the vision here. And you can see yourself if you get your hand and put it over your face like that, but just leave a little gap here. You can sort of imagine what it's like. So even though I sort of look like I'm closing there, I can still see. Mark, I can see both of your hands and your groin, and move them away if you would. You know what I mean? So I've got that vision there, but it looks like, I don't know what that looks like, but it looks pretty much like, I've covered my eyes and I can't see. So that's effectively what's happening. The coins
So do you have to
are
control
lifted.
where they go on there at all?
Not really, no, because I know that if, so long as I scrunch my forehead up and they put that coin on there, I know that you remember the coin is not attached to my face, the coin's attached to the tape. So as soon as I go like that, that coin's going to lift.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I'll show you what I mean.
A few dozen times.
Sorry?
This is where doing it at home a few dozen times.
Yeah, do it at home, and also, if you can't see, there are ways that you can get around it. There are ways that you can make it possible that you can see, and we'll talk about them in a minute. We'll talk about the problems.
Stevie Wonder doing this, for example, you say.
Yeah, Stevie Wonder, he struggles with he doesn't use coins.
No.
No,
You've
no.
got to see the piano though, isn't it? Otherwise you wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah. Can I just say, fellas, right? Stevie Wonder might be watching this DVD.
I doubt it.
Oh, you're right. No, he won't be watching this DVD.
Why-
Okay.
if
When he put a book out, he might read it in Braille, but that's about
Right.
it.
He's also not into this sort of stuff.
Can I show you how this works?
Sorry.
Okay. So, there are various ways. Stevie Wonder's watching this TV. I'm sorry. There are various ways that you can have the tape put on. Now, I've seen some people have the tape, the tape put on this way. Now, for me, I think that looks slightly more obvious. I go for the 45-degree angle because for me, that looks like much more convincing.
Yeah.
That looks like it's getting right in, you know what I mean? Your nose isn't getting in the way. So it's up to you. I find the diagonal works for me. So when the person, I've given each person 2 pieces of tape.
Is that how long it is? Yes.
Yeah, roughly. I mean, there's no great. It's just long enough so that I'm gonna have enough to stick it to my cheek and my forehead.
Right.
Obviously, I've got a lot of forehead, so there's loads of room for them to stick it. And I say stick the coin in the centre of the first piece of tape, and I start with the guy. The reason I start with the guy is the last piece of tape, in the method that I use, I'm going to say to the girl, you can put that last piece of tape anywhere you like, right? But don't cover my nose or my mouth. There's a reason why I don't want to cover my nose or my mouth. I say it's because I want to be able to breathe and speak. The truth is, if they go over there, they can actually cover the little point that I've got. So I will say, don't cover my nose or my mouth. Now, the girl is less likely to be challenging and ignore that comment than a guy will be. A guy might just think, I'm not bothered about what he's saying, I'll have a go. It very rarely happens, to be honest, and there are ways around it if it does. But that's why I start with a guy. So it's piece of tape, back to the guy again with his second piece of tape, back to the girl for the last bit. So the first piece of tape, I say, I want you to put it diagonally across my eye, and you can watch the performance to see exactly how I word it to him. And I say I want the coin to go fully over my socket, not up here, not down here, not across here, not over here. So basically I'm saying, make sure you cover my eye. And that sounds like I'm being instructive to make sure that I definitely can't see, but it's also to make sure that it's in the right position so that it'll give me vision when it's put on. So as he goes to put it on, I just pause and I do this line. I say, make sure my eyes are closed before you put the tape on there. And it just gives a little bit of space for me to get ready and him to get close. And then what I do is, as I close my eyes tight like that, he's going to put this on and he's going to go like this. Okay? So that's on. Now, at the moment, I can't see, but if I was to lift my... I can't do it, but if I was to lift, I then get a little bit of vision. To be honest, I've never blindfolded myself. I've always got other people to do it. But I'm going to get a little bit of vision here, okay? Through there. When I raise my eyebrows. So I start with them scrunched, and then I can raise them up. So I'll just take that off for a second while I talk to you about what's happening. So the first person puts a piece of tape and a coin over this eye. Then I turn to the girl. She does exactly the same thing across this eye. The third piece of tape, I ask them to put horizontally, which is the guy again, put it horizontally across where my eyes used to be, which is a funny line because my eyes are still there, obviously, and it usually gets a bit of a giggle. I say, put the last piece of tape horizontally where my eyes used to be. And then I get rid of the guy, so that the girl's left, because I'm going to do the jokes about searching me and everything else that you can see on the performance. And then I go to the girl and I say, you can put that last piece of tape anywhere you like. And normally that gets a laugh. I say, you can put the last piece of tape anywhere you like, because the audience know I've been bolshy and rude, so they're all thinking, ooh, put it over his mouth. I go, however, the mouth is funny. I do need to be able to speak and breathe for the rest of the trick. And normally then, at that point, the girl will just go across my eye. Sometimes she'll go up the forehead, and I'll make a gag about, oh, thanks, that's going to do my hairline the world of good. Sometimes she will go down here, but one of the things I do at this point is, during all of this, I'm keeping my eyes closed. I don't ever open my eyes until everything's on. Yeah? I mean, it's tempting to open your eyes to see whether you can see. But you really don't need to do that until all the tape's on. So at this point, I've still got my eyes closed and my forehead scrunched down. But I say, I put that piece of tape anyway, like, now, it's weird, but even though I can't see her, I'm sort of aware of her being there. You know what I mean? You know when you're aware of someone. And I sort of time it, and it's a bit of a feeling thing. And as I lean forward like that, what I do is just before she puts a tape on, I start lowering my head. And what that does is if she's going for my nose, right, like that, I just lower my head and I try and time it. I try and wait until I can feel her hands there. It's weird, but you can almost feel when someone's really close to you. And then I'll lower. And what it does is if she is thinking about trying to put it here, I do that, and it goes a bit higher up. There's no guarantee, but it's just an extra little thing that gives me a bit of breathing space. To be honest, it rarely matters anyway, because normally they've heard me say don't go over my nose or my mouth. So she'll either just go across there again. Sometimes they might do a diagonal on either side. Sometimes they'll go across the top. But just moving down helps just to, you know, give you a bit more breathing space down here. I ask them to put the coin in the centre of the tape. So that means you get tape equally either side. And I ask them to do it 45 degrees. And I make a big thing about not 46, not 44. Angles are important. Because, like I say, I've found that if they go like this, it can make it more awkward. And if they go straight diagonally down, it can end up looking not very good. You end up with a big gap if you're not careful. And it's at that point when I actually will raise my forehead to see what vision I've got. And usually I will have a reasonable amount of vision. And it's then that I go for the blindfold, and I'll say, you'll notice, you know, some people think, even though I've got my eyes closed, 2 coins taped over my eyes with 4 pieces of gaffer tape, people think I can still see. There's a blindfold on the table, which they've already examined, you know, because I've shown all the things before we started. She picks up the blindfold, and I put the blindfold on. Now, they can put it on, but, I mean, if they put it down here, you are struggling. So I put it on, and my eyes are closed. I had a look to check I can see, and I'll just put it on like that, and I'm sort of, you know,
right.
That's exaggerated, but I'll make sure that it just goes on like that. But it looks fair enough. And I have had sometimes when I've put it on, and, you know, I've sort of fastened it at the back, and then I felt the woman grab hold of it and pull it down like that. And if she does, I just think, you know, thanks a lot. I don't sort of go, no, I'll leave it. Because that looks bad. So, because, like I say, I know that I've got ways to get round that. And the way that I get around that is, I came up with this second thing by accident once. I was performing, and I was using tape that wasn't very sticky. And I'd got the tapes like this, and the tape across there, and I could feel it it felt like it was all going to drop off. And I was almost tilting my head back. And I put the blindfold on, and that helps hold it on a bit, but I could feel it was very loose, and I thought, when I come to taking this off, it's going to fall off. So, almost spontaneously, without thinking about it, I asked it to pass the tape, and I got the tape, and I wrapped the tape around my head. Now I worked out that that stops the tape falling off, because it secures everything. You're literally taping the whole package back to your head again. But the other thing I realised is it does mean that I can readjust everything during that moment, right? Now, there are various times when you're doing a blindfold routine and you might need to adjust for vision. Now, if somebody's doing a blindfold drive, for example, a favourite technique when you're doing a blindfold drive is you get all yourself taped up and then you get in the car. And as you get in the car, you bang your head on the corner of the car and you go, oh, like that. And you immediately, you know, oh, my head, and you readjust everything. And that's it's a very good justification for touching your head, you know what I mean, at a time, you know, because you bang your head and you, like that, and it's just enough for you to lift everything up to get a vision. Obviously, I can't do anything like that because I've tried to make out it's very, very fair. But when you come to wrap this tape round your head, so I say, give me the end of the tape, and she gives me the end of the tape in my hands, and I wrap it round my head like this. I'll put the whole lot on in a minute, and we'll show how it works. But as I wrap it around my head, if I haven't got any vision, there's another thing you can do. I can scrunch my eyes up, go like that, and then I can lift everything and wrap it around my head quickly and tape it slightly higher up so it stays there. Right? So as well as holding everything onto my head, that thing of wrapping the tape around my head gives me an opportunity to raise everything up. The other thing, if that doesn't work, and we're sort of talking a little bit about problems, if that doesn't work and you're still struggling, which has happened to me sometimes, the final thing I'll do is I do need to get my thumb in there and lift it up. And I didn't do it on the DVD because I didn't need to on the performance, but a technique that I'll sometimes use is the girls here on this side of me, and I do the thing on the tape where I ask to check that there's nothing in my ears. I say some people think I've got a special listening device in my ears, and I say to her, would you check this ear? And she says, yeah, there's nothing in there. And then I say, and would you also check this ear? And what I do is I turn my back to the audience, effectively the audience are there. I turn this way and I point to this ear, like that. Okay, and as I do that, my back's to the audience, my thumb goes up here and lifts it. I very rarely have to do that, but I always know I can do that if I need to. And that gives you peace of mind, like you say, because it could be worrying, what if I can't see? Yeah. It gives me peace of mind that I know if all else fails, I've got the wrapping the tape around the head that could lift things slightly.
Did you just go with that kind of tip from personal experience? Or?
That was, yeah, right. By accident. I did it once, I couldn't see. And I thought, what am I going to do? And I thought, well, I'll wrap the tape around my head. I did that, I still couldn't see. And it was just on the fly. I just thought, I've got to touch it. And I thought, but the audience will see. And I think there's nothing worse than doing a blindfold routine and then you start adjusting stuff yourself. I don't think you should look like you're touching it at all.
No. So you would only add the check the ears and wrap around if you're in...
No, I always do the wrapping around now because I've discovered that it's very, very funny. Right. It looks more convincing. And also it just keeps everything on there. It's like a reassurance thing. Because even though everything might appear firm, by the time I've explained the 3 pictures, I might have been sweating a bit and it might start to loosen, so they'll do the tape. Right, so what we'll do is, do you both want to put this tape on and I'll show you how it works. So you've got a coin each, and you get 2 pieces of tape each. There's your coin pin, I'll put it there. You've got a little table to rest your coin on. There you are, there's your second piece of tape, Peter. And Nigel. Okay. So you put your coin in the centre of your first piece of tape. Okay, and I explain, I want it diagonally, 45 degrees covering my eye. Now, scrunch my eye up, okay, make sure my eye is closed before you put the tape on there.
Okay.
And that goes on. I stick it down nice and firm. And then I get them, I say, I'm not afraid, because I know it's going to lift up. So I say, look, get your finger and stick the tape down all the way around, make sure there's no gaps where I can possibly see. Don't worry about hurting me, I've just kissed your girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. That's it, get it and stick it right in. Yeah. Okay, I say, that's excellent. Ooh-ah, Jim lad, blah, blah, blah. I say, look, I want you to do a similar thing. Now, I've never opened my eyes at this point. Do a similar thing across this eye in a symmetrical fashion. So she does the same thing. Yeah, stick it down nice and firm. Make sure there's no gaps around the tape. Yeah. Yeah. Get your fingers, stick it all the way in here. You know, I sort of make sure, I'm sort of saying, look, you know, make sure there's no gaps around that tape. And again, I'm not opening my eyes at this point. My eyes are still quite tightly shut. My forehead's furrowed, I think is the technical term. Okay, Peter, you've got 1 piece of tape left. I'd like you to put that horizontally across where my eyes used to be. Away you go. That's great. Stick it down nice and firm.
Yeah.
Excellent. And then, now, at this point, this is when I might open my eyes and see if I've got a bit of vision, because I might have to rethink about what I'm doing. And I have. I've got some vision. At the moment, I can see... well, if I'm like that, I can see Peter's hand on his leg, and I can, Mark, I can see your knee. That's pretty much what I can see, this little area here. And I'm seeing it from here, right, almost looking across the tip of my nose. Okay, so that's what I can see. So then I'll turn to the girl and I'll say, okay, you've got 1 piece of tape left. You can put that piece of tape anywhere you like. However, and normally the audience will laugh at that point, I'll say the mouth is funny, but I do need to speak and breathe for the rest of the trick. So cover my eyes one last time, anywhere you like. And so even though I've said don't cover my nose or my mouth, I finish with anywhere you like. But she'll nearly always go for, so you just put it on there.
I haven't got another piece.
Oh, sorry. I mean,
sorry. Sorry.
I could have got you one if you like.
Sorry. Just, you know, just... this, I mean, this is quite, you're really invading people's space here, isn't it? So
yeah,
as a helper, it's a... Do you know what I mean?
So you've been wanting to touch his face all day.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm here.
Yeah.
So I'll go across there.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Now at this point, I mean, this has worked out great. I mean, if Nigel had gone lower, then I might have had to think about lifting it with a tape. But I've got sort of vision now. You know, like I say, if I hold my head there, I can see both of your knees, Mark, which obviously is quite a lot of vision. Then the next thing I do is the blindfold, and I'll ask her to give...
Quite a lot of vision. I'm not sure I like the sound of that.
Hey, what, to see both your knees? Blooming excellent. You need widescreen. So I've got, sorry, I just picked that up. So then I'm going to take the blindfold and again, I just keep it slightly higher than it needs to be, and I turn and ask her to fasten that.
Okay.
Now, I mean that looks slightly high. If she, I mean that can come down to about there, and I can still see, but I keep it a little bit high because if they fasten that tight, it does pull everything onto your face, and it can make it a little bit more awkward. If you know they do pull it down or they feel they want to be honest, at this point they're sort of pretty convinced you can't see anyway. So you don't know, you don't need to do anything else. But the if they do put it further down, when I put the tape on next, I know that I'm going to be able to lift this. All right. So imagine that's further down. What I do is I'll say, can you pass me the tape off the tape, and find the end of the tape for me, which is there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this around my head. And what I do is I just literally wrap around my head. Now there's a tip I can give you. I mean, it depends what hairstyle you've got. I tend to wear a bit of gel on my hair. It hurts when you take this lot off. Right? There's no way around it. It's going to hurt when you remove it. And the worst thing is the hair, especially short hair. Long hair doesn't hurt quite as much as short hair because it sort of seems to pull the short hairs out. And I found that wearing a bit of gel on my hair, apart from the fact that I wear it messy, spiky anyway, it does sort of help it not stick to the hair so much. So, but I mean, that's a style choice. You know something? That's going the wrong way around, that. You know, I can't remember how I do this unless I'm sat down. Sorry. Get rid of that. Yeah, it's this way around. I knew it was going around. So I stick that to there, and then I'm going to go like this. Now, if it needs to lift, what I'll do is, with my right forehead, I'm going to lift. I'm going to push the whole lot up, right? So I'll put that on first, so that this first bit is stuck to the blindfold and a bit of the tape, the whole lot. It's all like one package. And as I go to wrap around my head, this hand will lift. My palm will lift that up as I go, and as it's lifted up, I'll then stick it on there onto itself again. So what I've done now is I've raised it up, and actually I can see all of your legs, Mark, and I can see both of your hands. I can see a bit of your stomach. I can see the carpet to the front. I've got quite a lot of vision now. I've just got a little bit less there as it gone on, but I've got enough. I mean, the actual amount of vision that I need to do this is just about the size of the palm of my hand, really. So you know, that's all I need. Then I'll get them to draw the pictures and bring them up on stage. Now, can I take this lot off while I... No. Or do you want me to keep it on?
No, I'm good. It's not necessary.
Right, you're still there. I'm just... No,
it's a good look for you, though.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll talk about how I get the vision, and I'll show you about taking it off. And then I might backtrack a little bit, because it'll be better if I can look at the camera and explain things, rather than talk to you with a blindfold on. So I get the people to come up. Now, depending on what happens, I may ask them to give me their pictures. And as they give me their picture, hold some fingers up for me. Would you just hold some fingers up, Peter? Okay, that's 2, yeah. So, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the only number he can think of. I
could have thought of 3 as well. I bet.
Do it again? Okay, 3, yeah. Predictable. Okay.
There's no limit to you.
So when they come up, the 3 people come up with their pictures. Depending on, sometimes I've got a lot of vision, and sometimes I haven't got a lot of vision. If I've got a lot of vision, I can sometimes see the pictures when they come up. Sometimes they're quite sloppy. Sometimes they fold them in half and they hold them to the chest, and I'm not going to be able to see them. Sometimes I see all 3, and I vary my performance depending on what happens. If I manage to see all 3 pictures when they come up, I won't touch them. I'll just sort of say, okay, do me a favour, and I'll turn. I'll look at them, I'll remember them in order what the pictures are, and I'll turn, and I'll say, right, hold your picture up, and as they do that, I'll describe the picture. If I don't get to see them when they come up, because I haven't got much vision, or they've been hiding them from me, or whatever, then what I'll do is to say, okay, and I'll ask them to give me their picture face down in my fingertips. And I say face down in my fingertips, and I don't say so that I can't see through the paper, because if I say that blatantly, the audience are not daft. They'll say, but you can see the picture through the paper, because they'll realise that. But what I say is, give me the picture face down, so that when I hold it up, The audience will see what it is. But I'm also subliminally letting them know that they are giving me the pictures face down. So, you know, people who backtrack might say, oh, but they give the pictures face down. But I'm not actually saying so much that they're going to start thinking too much about it and think, well, hang on a minute, and then look to see if you can see through. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. So I'll ask for the pictures face down. Now, as it happens, with a sort of ordinary A4 sort of printing paper, you know, like you get for your computer, and a thick marker pen, you will be able to see the image through the paper. So even though they're giving me it face down, I can still see what it is very clearly. I mean, it just stands out. You know, I always look through the back of the paper. And it's quite often they still give me it face up when I say face down. Because, you know, but then when you turn it like that, it'll be facing the audience. Sort of, you know, if imagine my palm of the hand is the picture, and I say give me it face down, then when I hold it up, it's facing the audience. And it's quite funny when I say give me it face down, you know, there's a reason for that. It's so that when I hold it up, the audience can see it. Some of them still give me it face up, and then I hold it up and the audience can't see. You know, and there's all sort of laughing. And you've got to play up the point that you can't see. So I never go like that, oh, sorry. Because then they say, oh, right, how did you know it was the wrong way around? So I always make out why are you laughing, what's wrong, oh, it's facing the wrong way. So like I say, I'll either glimpse them as they bring them up, or I'll glimpse them as they put them in my hand, depending on how much vision I've got, etc. I'll describe each of the 3 pictures. Each time I'll get them to sit down. If I'm doing it for magicians, I have a little gag where one of them goes back with the pen, and I normally say, to be honest, I prefer to get the pens back. Is that the time? Stuff like that. But I would only do those gags for magicians. For lay people, I try and as much as possible make out that I can't see anything. So the mystery is, well, how does he know what the pictures are drawn? I don't make out that even though I'm blindfolded, I've got some X-ray vision. I make out that I can't see. And there's funny lines, depending on what happens. Sometimes people in the audience, you know, I hold it like that and somebody over here sort of says, I can't see it. And I say, well, how do you think I feel? So there's lots of little lines I've got depending on, you know, I'd love to help you, but I've got a blindfold on, or whatever, if they're messing about. So I describe all the pictures, and then I come to the removing of the tape. Now, there's a few important things about removing it. I'll remove it. I'm going to have to backtrack because there's things I haven't talked about in the actual performance, but I can't remember what they are because I can't see my notes. So the way I remove the tape is that, first of all, I do a gag about not being able to find the end. All right? There's 2 reasons for that. One of them is it's quite funny of, you know, I'm taped up and all of a sudden I can't find the end, and it's a bit, and I do the gag about, you know, do you remember at Christmas when you're trying to wrap your presents and you can't find the end of the Scotch tape or whatever? And the audience sort of can
relate to that.
Yeah, exactly, thanks, I'd lost the word. The audience can relate to the fact that you can't find the end of the tape, but also it's a subtle convincer that tape's stuck down quite firm. Yeah. You know what I mean? That I'm having to try and find the end and it's stuck down. Because the removing of the tape is the convincer of the whole trick, that you want to convince them that really was stuck on hard. So you want to really sell the thing that it's hurting to take it off and it's really stuck and it's gunged up and, oh my word, this is horrible. So I'll stick for the end, and then I'll sort of do a rough tape like that, because the noise is really good, and you want a bit of noise when you rip it off. So I get a noise like that, and I'll try and, if I know where the mic is, I'll try and make sure that happens near to the mic, so the mic picks it up. And there's gags on that if you watch the performance of how I remove it, etc. This is the worst bit, actually, this back of the head thing. Shine on. Oh. You've got to love the trick to want to do it, I must admit. Okay. So that bit comes up and gets thrown away. Oh, sorry. It's all right, I've got my eyes closed. Then I'll take the tape off. Now, the removing of the actual main block of tape, you should also remove it from the top downwards, because if you work from the bottom upwards, you're basically revealing the secret. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're sort of saying, look, this is how it's done. You remove it from the top downwards, and also it means that when you get to the bottom bit, you can sort of lower it slightly, so it really looks like it's coming from right underneath your eyes. Okay? So what I do is I start doing this and taking it off, and I do the gag about, you know, if I look really shocked at the end of this trick, it's because I've got no eyebrows left, blah, 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 blah. Now, there's a little secret I came up with for this, and I've never told anybody about this. I don't think any other magicians do it. But it's a fantastic bit of business. It's very, very subtle, but it really works well. Is what I'll do is when I get to this bit of tape here, I know where the mic is. I use a mic on a stand. I don't use a tie clip, because for comedy I like the control of whispering into it or shouting or moving off it. but I have a feel of where the microphone is, and I'll get right close up to it. And when I get to this bit, and if you watch the performance, you can hear it, and it's not the tape, it's me. And what I do is, as I pull this tape, I go with my teeth. So I'll get this, and I'll go like that. And it really, really sells the idea that that tape's on there firm. Because if you don't, it's like this. You know. So I might do that twice, but I certainly do it once. I'll peel a little bit really slowly on one side, and then the second side, I'll put my hand here so I'm not going to so it's not going to come up totally off, and I'll do that. And it is great, and the sound doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be that realistic because it's like a ventriloquist. Because they're seeing the action, you mentally in your head you put that sound and the action together, and you think that's the sound of the tape. And you know, and even on the tape, I watch it, and I think it does sound like the tape. But if you watch the performance, it's just like. And you pull that off like that, and then after that you can do it slowly again. But it's just that one that really sells the idea that this stuff is firm to your face. And then I'm going to pull it off like this. And the important thing is to keep your eyes tightly closed all the way, like that. And then I'm pulling, and it's actually off now. But I pull a bit more until I get down here, and then like that. And this actually isn't stuck to my cheek, but I'm holding it there with my hand, and you know, so you sort of miming that whole process, And if you've had your eyes tightly closed throughout the whole of that removing process and the whole of the rest of the trick, I'll only open my eyes to see the pictures. The rest of the trick, I'll close my eyes and I'll keep them tight shut. One, it makes me act like I'm blindfolded. Yeah. I don't, you know, pick up something that I shouldn't be able to pick up. And the other thing is, when I do take the tape off and I open my eyes, I genuinely look like I can't see. Okay, so that's.
One thing I was going to say, I'm sure during the performance, either the girl put the tape round your nose or you put a bit under there. I'm sure you did.
I'd have to watch it again. But if that's the case, I will have either. I think she went quite. I think she went quite close to my nose, but I don't think she went underneath. They never do cover your nose or your mouth, really. But if they do, you've got that thing if you can lift it or you can get your thumb underneath.
With regards to taking that off, I mean, have you tried different sort of getting rid of the spectators and then taking it off, or keeping them on stage with you so you get a sort of a reaction?
No, to be honest, I want to, because it's a funny trick in that the magic happens, and then you've still got to remove the tape.
Yeah.
So the removing of the tape has got to be a big. It's got to be like a ta-da, and I just want to be the only person on stage at that point. I don't want them, because then it's ta-da, and then so I get, you know, the three people who've drawn the pictures have sat down. The trick's over, but now I'm removing the tape, and the audience are almost waiting to see me again to give me my applause. It's almost like I'm going to come back on stage. I'm going to go like that. Here I am.
Because that's a mistake a lot of performers make. It's almost, right, the trick's over, get it all off so quickly and move on. It's almost they're frightened of that time. Yeah. And they get it off so quickly, it's almost, well, you took 10 minutes putting it on, and then you've got it off in seconds.
Yeah, no, I think you do. And because there's that unwrapping, and then the tape, and then that slow thing, I think it's important that you take a bit of time, and it's got to look like it's stuck there, and it's got to look like it's firm, and I mean, it does hurt. The bit wrapped around your head does hurt. There's no way around it. Pulling it off your face hurts a little bit, but not too much. Another thing I didn't mention about, if there's no way you can see, and you've tried this and you can't see, there's one other thing you can do, which I've had to resort to maybe once or twice. Like I say, I don't think you should have to ever go to the blindfold, but there is a thing you can do where, do you know how sometimes when mind readers or mentalists are doing that thing where they're thinking and they go like that, and they go to the head, right? There's one thing you can do where you can go to your head like this, and you can go, okay, concentrate on your picture, and what I'll do is put my hand here, and I'll go like that, and I'll lift everything. And sometimes I can feel that it's, you know, it's a tiny little hole, and I can hardly see anything. I'll go, okay, concentrate on your picture, and I'll go boom, and I'll lift it. Yeah. But I don't have to do that very often. So I think that's pretty much it, really.
Would you close with that then? Or would you say that's a...
No, I don't normally close with that. I normally do that as my penultimate effect. I think it was Geoffrey Durham who talked about your closing trick being reasonably quick and entertaining. I can't remember, but no, I don't close with it. You could do, I suppose, but for me, it's.
I've seen a mentalist open with it, funny enough.
Yeah, I think you.
Blindfolded, you know,
yeah.
And then does all this stuff.
Right.
And then the build-up is he takes the bag off, and then the stuff off, and then the tape off, then the dough, then the coins, And it's made all the stuff he's done before seem more and more impossible with everything that's coming off.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of those things that it's you're flying by the seat of your pants, aren't you? That first
Well,
couple of gigs, you're going to.
You are and you aren't. It's a bit like, you know, it's a bit like suggestion things. It's the more you do it, the more you realise that actually you're not. That there's less of it. It's more of an accurate science than you realise.
Yeah.
It's just
There's no real out for it though, is there? You can't.
Yeah, but like I say, I've never ever in 10 or 12 years, I've never ever got to a point where I can't see it. I've always managed to. Now, all right, some performances might have been a little bit more touchy-feely than I would like. I would say 95% of the time, I don't ever have to go up there. I wrap the tape around my head, and I can see over there, and they come up. What I love it is when they wander up, and each of them as they wander up, I'm looking as them coming up stage, and I see, oh, there's a house, there's a tree, there's a, you know, there's a fish. Great, come and stand over here. I'll look over here. So I'm blindfolded. I'm facing the opposite way. First person, hold your picture up, and that's the ideal, and that's how it happens quite a lot. Usually, I have to hold the pictures because they're still a bit guarded, which is funny because I mean they've just watched you being blindfolded. But yeah, I think it's one of those things that when you do it, you realise that I think you've got to be a bit of a showman to get away with it, because you've got to be able to.
And they do know what's coming.
You've got to be able to, not bully people, but you've got to be able to control them, and you know.
When you're saying people are guarded, though, you know they know what's coming. You're getting blindfolded. You're not going to go to all this trouble and not get the picture. You know, you just look like an idiot with a load of blindfolds.
Yeah, I mean, I do troop shows, right? Shows for the troops, and I've been to the Falklands, and I went to Afghanistan last year, and I would never ever do my blindfold trick for a load of troops, because you know, for a start, I don't want to be blindfolded in front of a load of troops. They'll immediately think that you're a target. You know what I mean? And but also.
The dynamics are all right.
You know, you don't want to do it for you don't want to do it for a load of drunken on a stag night, a load of drunken blokes who are just going to be challenging, and suddenly they're grabbing the tape and saying, "Let me have a go," and playing around with your props.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken it off and no one's there?
That's actually a gag on the performance if you watch it.
Right.
I
with
apologise.
regards to your gag to this, is it something that just grows as you do it? Or?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I said at the beginning, the routine is very much ad-libbed, and I mean, you're welcome to do the performance as I do it. I'd say you're much better coming up with your version of how you do it. It's always better to be a unique you than a very good copy of somebody else. So most of my routine is ad-libbed because I enjoy ad-libbing, and it's a great trick to give me scope for ad-libbing. Yeah. But yeah, it's great.
Brilliant.
It's a great thing for thing.
Cool. We've reached that awkward moment now at the end of this explanation.
It's a great thing for them. Anybody want a sandwich? Do you want a sandwich? So there we are. I hope that you'll think about giving a blindfold routine a try. It can be frightening. It is challenging, but very, very satisfying when you get away with it, and a real baffler for members of the public and even some magicians who aren't really in the know. Thanks a lot.